Hello, fellow stackers. Wednesday, February 25th. Welcome back to Full Bore Silver. Metals markets are ripping today. Silver, beautiful overnight move. I was texting with Aaron, Texas Silver at 5:30 this morning. I think he'd already been up for 2 hours. We're up 4.25% already. We're back into the 90s on silver. Gold flying, breached 5,200. Platinum up almost 8%. Palladium up. Nickel. Metals are screaming. We're forming another beautiful bull flag on silver. I think we leg up from here. There is a lot of strength in these markets. Mexico hasn't helped. The strength of the US dollar hasn't helped. The overall state of the world economy hasn't helped. Well, it has helped silver and precious metals, of course. We're ripping. We're going to keep an eye on that. When I see this kind of bull flag form, this is usually when I start to get into the options game a little bit because I know a move is imminent here. It's coiling, it's consolidating, and it's getting ready for its next break. The only problem is all the miners are breaking out as well. Now, we talked about that great analogy that Rick Rule made with the bullwhip, how the commodities are the handle of the whip. They move first, and then the top tier, like the Newmonts and the Barracks, are next. Then the end of the whip is the exploration companies, the prospectors, the smaller ones. Now, Aloro did get hammered today because they diluted their stock again. This is one of these small little exploration companies. They're based in Bolivia, Peru, and Quebec. It's a penny dreadful, as Rick Rule would say. They were down almost 10% today. I legged into a little bit more. It is a total risk-reward situation. It's all or nothing. Be prepared to lose if you're buying these small little exploration stocks. Not financial advice, but I legged into a bit more there, hoping that it's an overreaction. I did the same yesterday. They smashed down DMC Global, which is an oil services company. Boom is the ticker, BOOM. They brought that guy down. I don't know if it was 20-30%, but I legged into more there because oil and oil services, super bullish on that. We're already back up 10% off those lows. Could be a dead cat bounce. We'll see. I have long-term conviction in oil services, quite a few other oil and energy plays as well, uranium included, which has been great as of late. Somebody did mention Hydrograph, which is a graphene play. Graphite, graphene, very interesting. Graphene is a derivative of graphite. Graphene is a refined product. Conductivity is very high with graphene and can be used in anodes, batteries, and all kinds of industrial applications. Something interesting started to happen when they started to refine graphite into graphene. Some companies rug pulled a lot of initial investors. What they were doing was trying to sell what they had termed graphene, which was really just powdered graphite. It was a stumbling block for the graphene breakout. That took place a few years ago. A lot of people got out of the space. It does look like there's a lot of industrial use. I've taken a little bit of stake in some companies besides Hydrograph, but Hydrograph is another play on that graphene. Now, we had the State of the Union last night. It was more WWE than Jeffersonian, in my opinion. Very entertaining. The beginning part was kind of all over the place. I couldn't really see what the theme was, but then Trump went off script and started to fire on all cylinders. Hilarious, just trolling the hell out of the Democrats. Talked about the stock insider trading bill. Our favorite congressperson is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She took large stakes in New Gold and Hecla before any of the breakouts happened. She's a fantastic metals investor, miners investor. Going back to 2010, you had Ghislaine Maxwell investing $42,000 in First Majestic. A lot of insider behavior on the precious metals and the miners. He mentioned the Stock Insider Trading Act. There's been a lot of Congress people. We got a couple down here. Real scumbags, Dan Crenshaw, Michael McCall, Texas Republicans. You got the Debbie Wasserman Schultzes, just a whole host. It's both sides of the aisle. And as George Carlin says, it's a big club and you're not in it. They all engage in this. It was hilarious because he mentioned it. The Democrats, they sat on their hands. Trump trolled the hell out of the audience, especially the Democrats, and said, "Is Nancy Pelosi standing up?" Obviously, one of the greatest stock traders in modern American history, Nancy Pelosi beating Warren Buffett. He made mention to the Somali pirates that have taken over Minnesota, and the cameraman on C-SPAN panned directly to Ilhan Omar. It was hilarious, and she was just stone-faced. It was pure comedy. It was very entertaining. He trolled the Supreme Court after they knocked down his tariffs, and John Roberts, Chief Justice, was completely stone-faced, totally embarrassed. They should all be embarrassed. The entire government, honestly, should be embarrassed. He talked about the SAVE Act, having people show ID to vote. Just wild. You basically can't step out your front door without having to show ID. The fact that you don't have to show ID to vote in some of these districts is just wild to me. But I don't think the Democrats are going to go for it because that's how they get a large majority of their votes. The real Trump lovers stand up and clap. But I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. I don't have a lot of faith in this government. He didn't address really Iran, impending situation there. Didn't address Epstein, which is just a major, major elephant in the room. It's all a hoax. Some of the stuff coming out, the stuff implicating, as we talked about, Jess Staley from J.P. Morgan and other financial institutions, and Howard Lutnick and the rest of these people, all the bankers. It probably is why he was screaming at Marjorie Taylor Greene, "You're going to hurt a lot of my friends." Yeah, these are the big bankers. These are the people that run this clown show of an economy Ponzi scheme. And a lot of them are implicated in this. And you've got Google execs. You've got everybody from government, NASA scientists to Stephen Hawkins to European bankers. Now you have politicians being arrested in Europe, which, hey, good for them. They're putting the squeeze on Prince Andrew and the people from Norway and some of these other. It is worldwide. It is wild. Dave Smith, I like his commentary. He's one of the good ones, if you know what I mean. He said, "Initially, I thought that Epstein worked for Mossad, but now I'm beginning to think that Mossad worked for Epstein." Obviously, Epstein admitting that he was a representative of the banking family, the Rothschild banking family, gained prominence from the 1700s on. Meyer Rothschild sent his 5 sons to all the major European capitals and basically took over banking for the industrialized modern world. And they've only grown in power. So pretty wild stuff there. He declared a war on fraud, which was very interesting. Trump family's taken probably $68 billion out of the crypto scam with Melania and Trump and Barron coins. His sons, Don Jr. and Eric, very, very involved in HUD 8 and some of these other crypto scams. The Board of Peace, $10 billion allocated to the Board of Peace, which is then put in an offshore account. Doesn't seem on the up and up to me. You look at the AIPAC money and the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been grifted into the campaigns of basically all of Congress and the executive. Now it's on the state level. And, speaking of which, come and take it, baby. That's a big reference here in Texas. We're fighting like hell to get Doc Chambers in. Doc Pete Chambers, ex-Green Beret, ex-flight surgeon, Green Beret medic, and get this scallywag Greg Abbott out of there, who's just been really Texas last. Pays a lot of lip service. He says a lot of the right things, fairly well spoken and fairly relaxed, and oh shucks, kind of comes off like that. He's really a snake. It'd be great to see him and Dan Patrick, his lieutenant governor, just bounced out. Look, they've made enough money. They've made tens of millions of dollars. Go retire. Get the hell out of here. We don't need you. Doc Pete Chambers, get out and vote for him. I believe early voting ends February 27th, so 2 days from now. And then 3/3 is the general election here in Texas, I believe. I know some of the commenters are a little skeptical on the efficacy of voting in this modern day and age. But, man, your local elections in Texas, get out there and vote for Doc Pete Chambers. One interesting thing that Trump did mention with the data centers, he said that the build out of all these data centers, people are worried about their power bills. I mentioned my buddy in upstate New York paying $1,100 a month on his lake house that he doesn't even occupy during the winter. People are worried about their power bills. They're exorbitant, and we have an antiquated grid. And you cannot expect to have exponential build out of these AI and data centers without water and without energy. And Trump said, hey, look, you could build all the data centers you want, Amazon and Google and Oracle. You're going to have to provide the power for your own data centers. And I don't know if that means SMRs, the small modular reactors. I don't know what that means, but I know it is good for people investing in copper and silver. And that would be great if they can somehow implement and enforce that these new data centers are responsible for their own power, and any overrun that they don't use has to be put back into the grid. Texas, we have our own grid here, and it's a mess. That'd be nice. They build the SMRs, and then we get some sort of rebate on our own power bills. I did pick up a little bit more silver when we were down in the doldrums. I grabbed some peace silver dollars from Monument Metals. Monument Metals has, I think, of all the metals companies and bullion companies I bought from, has treated me the best. I am a proponent of SD and Texas Precious, some of the others. Done business with a lot of them, scanning finebullionprices.com when we were pulling back, or back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, did some buying off some of these random sites. But Monument has just treated me so well. Everything's packaged well. They're priced well. They honor the deals. They ship it quickly. So I picked up some peace silver dollars. We had a long form video where we kind of talked about the history of the coinage in silver and gold and the two presidents who declared war against silver and gold. There's actually a third in there as well. Go back and watch that video. I'll put it in the description, a link. But the peace silver dollars, man, they're just so beautiful. You've got the gleaming tiara on Lady Liberty, and then you've got the eagle with more gleaming sunshine coming, underlighting the eagle. A lot of detail, and it's just wild that, you know, you're holding a piece of American history that's over 100 years old. In fact, they were minted from 1921 to 1928, and then again in 1934 and 1935. It was to signify the end of World War I, which was 1914 to 18. You had the crime of 1873, which demonetized silver, but that was reversed by the Pittman Act of 1918, which remonetized silver. And the end result are these beautiful coins, these beautiful peace silver dollars. And I'll give you a little close up here at the end. But I bought these for $60. They're 90% silver, 10% copper, $1 coin, face value. It's 0.77 troy ounces of silver per coin. And I bought these again from Monument at 60 beans a piece. Now, today on AppMex, these are 99 a piece. Bullion Exchanges 78, and Monument has them at 77 today. That was a pretty good buy back when we got slammed down by the fake COMEX paper price. Just really happy. It's a piece of history if you're at all interested in history. Kind of a cool little collector item. But they also hold a lot of value, and 90% silver. You can add it to your constitutional stack. I know some people are just huge on the junk silver. Aaron, Texas Silver talks quite a bit about junk silver, as does Bill Holter. I hold some. Mainly I stack bullion, and I'm just in it for the weight. But in terms of being able to trade smaller denominations, if we do really have a catastrophe in this country, and junk silver is going to serve you well. So I'll give you a close-up of that. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We're going to continue to watch these markets. Silver's just steaming right here. We're about to breach 91. We'll see where this goes. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share Full Bore Silver. Talk to you soon.